finally back in the garage. I apologize for not being able to post too much lately. While I haven't been working on the truck as much as I'd like, I've still been working at my regular daytime job to pay for some parts for this truck. Speaking of parts, I actually bought a few goodies that I'm going to show you right now. I got some QA1 double adjustable suspension. I also got a few little things, but I'll show you all that later on in the video. I also picked up some new wheels and tires. These are Aero 15-inch diameter wheels with a Nitto NT 555 R2 tire. Now that you're all up to date, I'm going to start working on a cross member in the rear. I had started it, but I wasn't finished, and I don't really like the design too much just yet. It still needs some refining. So let's do that, and later on I'm going to start figuring out my Watts link. So I have my 4-link figured out. Now I have to figure out my Watts link. I'm gonna have to figure out something for the bars, and I'm also gonna have to make some brackets for the frame. The brackets shouldn't be too hard to make, but I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna make the arms. I went in the backyard and found the original links off of the Crown Vic. I really wanted to make my own bars and make it pretty custom. I went all over my local part stores and tried to find some bushings or heim joints in the size of these studs. I believe they're 12 millimeters, but I couldn't find anything. Everything I could find, it was all in standard size, so it's not gonna work. So that kind of canceled the plans to make my own custom bars. I ordered a new OEM Watts link setup for a Crown Vic, and once I get it, it's probably gonna take a couple days. They didn't really have any in stock around my local stores. But what I'm gonna do when I get it is just cut the arm in half, like I did to this one, and weld it at the length I want. I didn't really like the bend in the original arm, so I'm just gonna cut it off, and then when I make my new arm, it's just gonna be a straight bar. It'll be boxed in, it'll look cool, and it'll be as custom as I can make it, since I couldn't get the heim joints in the size I wanted. But now that I know what I'm gonna do for the Watts link, I'm gonna start making brackets on the frame. Then I'll be well on my way to figuring out the Watts link on my custom frame. So to figure out my brackets for the Watts link, I have some more foam board, my best friend for this build. Just gonna get my pattern. Not exactly sure what I'm gonna do yet for the pattern. I'm just gonna kind of experiment, play around, and see what looks best. I'm gonna make sure it's strong, and then I can kind of play around with the design after I figure out the best way to mount it to the frame. So that's going to be the design of the bracket for the Watts link. You can see where I'm going to drill holes for adjustability, and I might also bend this tab to the side like this just to make it look a little cooler, and it'll actually add a lot of strength rather than just having it drop down from underneath the frame. Now that I'm happy with that, I just have to make it out of metal and attach it to the frame. Should look pretty good. Here's the design for my shock mounts. I just have to cut these out and they should be ready to go. I've been drilling holes in these brackets for what seems like hours. It just seems like it's never ending, but I think I have them all figured out. More over here, and more over here. I have all my brackets done for the back of the frame. This is going to be for my Watts link. It's just going to go on the side of the frame. These are for my coilovers, again on the side of the frame, and then this is going to go right on the bracket for my forelink, like that. There's going to be 2 of those. The other one's just somewhere around here. Oh, right over here. So that's going to attach my coilover from my rear end to the frame. Everything's really shaping up. I'm still waiting for my Watts link setup to arrive. It's in the mail, so I don't have it yet. But that should be here pretty soon, and in the meantime I can start tacking my brackets to my frame and to my bracket on the rear end as well. The cab is back on the frame. It's looking really good. I just wanted to see where my tire ends up in relation to the cab to know how much flare is going to have to go on the quarter panel and on the front fender as well. And you can see that it sticks out quite a bit. I think it's going to have to be flared at least 2 or 3 inches. My shortened rear quarter panel, it's already flared a bit, but it's still not enough for these tires. And I don't really like the flare that is on there now. It's just something that I experimented a while back. But I think I want to do a fender that looks like the original curve, like this one. You see where it kind of goes in and then it's just flat on the edge. That's what I want to do, but just extend it out more. I think it'll look better and more fitting to the style of the truck. So that's going to be the coilover setup. I think it looks great. The brackets turned out amazing. It looks professional. I'll have to tidy them up a little bit more, but you get the rough idea and it's going to work. The frame, really the only thing left that I have to do before I can unbolt it from the ground for the first time is just I'm gonna box in the front of the frame here, and then I'm gonna put a cross member in the front here just to brace everything, and then I'll know it won't bend. It's gonna be really exciting to see that big moment. It's gonna be like a milestone in the build. Just being able to unbolt it from the ground and having a full rolling chassis. It's gonna look insane when this frame is painted.